And we are back. Our first guest is a former NFL defensive tackle who amassed 360 tackles and 35.5 sacks over an illustrious 12-year playing career, including a Super Bowl win with the New York Giants. He is the founder of Mr. Robbins Neighborhood, which is doing some great work here on the Gulf Coast. I would like everybody to give a warm welcome to Mr. Fred Robbins. So Fred, talk to me, Fred. So what drew you to the game of football?
Oh man, just being big, I guess. But it was just football was just something that naturally came with me. Just being aggressive as a child, and I was always too big to play growing up. I had to play with the older kids, but when I got to high school, I finally had a chance to go out and play.
So, was it something you found yourself to be most gifted in? Was it your favorite sport to play?
Actually, my favorite sport to play was baseball growing up, but like I said, I was just too big to play, with my own age group growing up. But once I started playing football, I started to like it and just started getting like a lot of attention from colleges, so just took off from there.
You played for 3 NFL teams, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Minnesota Vikings, New York Giants, and St. Louis Rams.
And then you won a Super Bowl with
the New York Giants.
The New York Giants beating the Patriots.
Yes.
That was the game with that crazy helmet catch.
Yes, with the crazy helmet catch, man. Just it was a crazy game. We actually played them early on in the regular season, and they beat us by 3. But we knew we could beat them, so we had our chance back in the Super Bowl and came up victorious.
And was that one where they were saying the Giants were the underdog too, right?
Yeah, we were the underdog. They was hanging up, victory flowers, in our hotel room, so it kind of got under our skin a little bit, but we just went out and had a hell of a game. Yeah.
So what was the experience like afterwards winning? I've got this part of the Pensacola hockey team, and we've won a couple of championships, and it's kind of crazy anarchy, and the locker room is nuts.
Yeah.
What was it like?
It's just nonstop, partying, nonstop. Everything happened so fast, and we partied after the Super Bowl, on the plane ride back, in the stadium when we got back, and then the parade through New York City. That was just unbelievable.
Parade has got to be.
Yeah, it was crazy.
That's
nonstop.
Because I was at the one that I was in New Orleans, and I saw the one with the Saints, and it was just nutty.
Yeah.
But of course, New Orleans, they party totally different than everybody else. New York knows how to.
Yeah, New York, we know how to party too a little bit. Yeah.
That's cool. So, how long have you been retired now?
7 years.
And what do you miss most about playing?
I think just the camaraderie, just being around the guys. The locker room. Just missing that part of it. I don't miss all of the day-to-day activities we had to do, but just being around the guys, the atmosphere, you kind of miss that. You don't get that chance that often.
Knowing what you know now after your NFL career is over and you've retired, if you could go back in time and give yourself some advice, what would that be?
I think, when I first got to the NFL, I would tell my younger self to, just approach it as a business. Coming out of college, it's all about having fun. But once you get to the NFL, it's strictly from day one a business. And a lot of young guys come into it just thinking, with their heart, but they don't think with their mind. So I would give myself that advice to go into it from day one with attitude of football as a business.
Now, having said that, tell us about Mr. Robbins Neighborhood.
Well, it's a nonprofit we started. I just understand that how hard a road it is to get to where I was in the pros. And so I always tell the kids in my program, look, I'm like a tool. You got to utilize me, So, I just want them to have an easier path than what a lot of guys have. So I try to, give them things and tools that they'll be able to understand to go on to the next level.
What made you want to start this charity to begin with, and why the Gulf Coast? You could live anywhere. I know you're originally from Pensacola area, right?
Yes.
I'm sure you had options. What drew you back to the Gulf Coast for this?
Just being from Pensacola, I realized, a lot of people from Pensacola have never been outside the city limits. And a lot of friends I grew up with, never left, so they don't know what the outside world is like. And I understand what Pensacola's like coming from there. So I always wanted to come back home and just show those younger kids, not just kids, but adults too as well. There are opportunities outside of Pensacola and things that they can grow and become, better people, and I always come back and give that back to the hometown.
What would you say are probably the most important things that you would want your kids to learn, as well as the kids that you help with Mr. Robbins Neighborhood?
I just think networking. I think, a lot of people get comfortable, especially young kids, man, they don't know how to speak and they just get comfortable in their own setting and they don't understand the value of networking, getting outside of your own comfort zone. So that's one of the most things we try to strive to our young kids in our program, to get out and network, get out of your norm, normal day-to-day activities, and that way you can become more successful that way.
And now, your wife Tia, she's involved in this too,
yes,
right?
Yes.
What are the things that she does?
We pretty much, go hand in hand. I just think that, as a couple, I think that's very important too as well. We've seen a lot of, guys that teammates and former teammates of mine, struggle in that area. So sometimes it's good for the kids to hear from like a woman's perspective and what they're dealing with. But also, she's just, the enforcer behind it. She keeps me on my toes and everything. But I think we just work well as a team, and she understands, that life as well. I think is very important because it's a hard life for me for football, but it's even harder for the wives. I don't think people realize, how much the wives got to go through. So just having that support in that team, I think that's a major factor for it.
Is that because of the travel and because of all the?
Yeah, I think it's
there sometimes.
Yeah, it's the travel, keeping up, with the schedule, the family, and also just dealing with, the norms, what come with the football life. You know what I mean, and understanding, some things that she might not understand, but you got to do it from a business perspective. But so having that understanding and having that backbone that supports us when I come home is always better.
How can people get involved with Mr. Robbins Neighborhood?
Oh man, just visit our website, MrRobbinsNeighborhood.org. We're looking for mentors, volunteers, and a lot of people just want to help and give back in certain areas. We do job shadowing programs with our kids, so just get these kids thinking about playing B, C, D, and F. Because sports is so hard, especially now with the scandal with college scandals. They're gonna be tightening the noose on like how. What kids are getting involved in the colleges now. So I think with that happening, it's going to be a lot harder for kids to get into college.
Got it. Football season's about to start up again.
Yes.
Who's your pick for this year's Super Bowl?
Oh man, I love the Giants, man. I hope we can turn things around. But I think the Saints. I think they still have some good pieces of the puzzle together. But I like the Colts. I like how they ended the season last year. I think they had a great draft, but I like to see them coming out of the AFC to knock off the Patriots. So hopefully I can see the
goal is
Saints.
to knock off the Patriots.
Knock off the Patriots, whoever it is, knock the Patriots off.
Well, your sentiments are the same as mine. Sadly, I'll probably upset some viewers, but they'll call me a hater. They'll call me a hater.
It's all right.
Thank you, Fred.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure.
Always.
We'll be right back after these messages.